notice that this chair is empty. It's because we're running way behind today. Being the most professional broadcast this side of the Columbia River has its challenges. So we are still cleaning carboys and disinfecting things. But while we're waiting, we'll let Steve get ready. So Steve is my buddy who's usually here. Today we're going to do a Chuckanut Brown Ale. And so this is a Northern English Brown Ale with mild chocolate, roast malts, and a hint of nutty character from Victory Malt. The original gravity is 1.048. Final gravity is 1.011. Alcohol by volume is 4.9%. And the IBU is 30. So we've done this one before. Really liked it. Super popular with my wife. So it's one of the reasons we're doing it again. And yeah, here we go. Let's see. So the kit inventory, which the kit is right now warming up, we've already smacked the yeast pack, but the steeping grains is half a pound of Victory, 0.5 pound Crystal 40, quarter pound of pale chocolate, and then a quarter pound of Munich. The extracts are straight up 6.6 pounds of Golden Light LME, liquid malt extract. The hops, number 1 Centennial, we put that in right at the beginning of the boil. And then hop number 2 is Golding, and we put that in with 15 minutes left until the end. Our yeast is Y yeast, 1275. 62 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit is the optimum temperature, and we love wide temperature ranges, to be honest. And then the bottling primer is corn sugar, but we don't use that because we don't bottle, we cake. And yeah. So brewing instructions, they're pretty much the same for all of these kits. We are extract brewers at this point. Steve has a grand dream, not quite as grand as Martin Luther King's, but still pretty grand. He has this grand dream of one day being all grain brewers, or at least trying. We're also going to try bottling once or twice. That might be interesting. Bottling will make it much easier to share the beer, and when you make 5 gallons of beer every 2 weeks, you kind of have to share your beer. I mean, yeah, it's hard to drink that much beer, although you managed to do it. All right, so we activate the liquid yeast culture, which is just the smack pack. Those of you that know what a smack pack is, you know. Those of you that don't, it's basically kind of a, not really aluminum foil, but a heavy plastic foil type pouch. And it has the yeast in liquid, usually in a dormant state. Keep it refrigerated to keep it dormant. And then when you're ready, you smack it, and inside there's a little pouch that's designed to pop, and it has just some extra nutrients to kind of kick the yeast off. You get it up to room temperature, not too hot because you'll kill the yeast, and that's a bad thing. And it does it staying in the yeast, and you'll know it's ready because the pack is thin, and then it puffs out like this. So that's the first thing we do, just to give it time to activate. We start with 3 gallons of water, which are on the floor. I don't think you can see them quite. They're out of the camera's view. But on the floor, we have 3 gallons of water. And here's the thing. So there's 2 ways of doing the initial steep of your grains. Essentially, you're making a tea of sorts. The first way is you start cold, and then you put your grains in, and you let it get warmer and warmer and warmer until you hit your target temperature. Once you hit your target temperature, then you maintain that and you start your timer and you steep for 30 minutes. That's method 1, which we learned from a gentleman named Mark from years and years ago. This guy is an amazing brewer. He has since moved on to making mead. He has his own mead company, and I cannot remember the name of it. I'll look it up, share it out. Those of you that are in the Pacific Northwest need to look into it, because if you like mead. Me personally, I'm not a big mead guy because mead is just kind of wine, and I don't like wine. Really, at the end of it, when your mead is all done and it's flocculated, and well, it doesn't really flocculate, but once it's fully attenuated and the yeast have done their thing, it kind of just turns into wine. I kind of like new mead. New mead is cool, but that's still sweet and sparkly and kind of interesting. And of course, it's made with honey. Those of you that know what mead is wine made from honey. And yeah, it's good when it's new, not so much with the aged stuff that true mead drinkers think, oh, this is good mead. In any case, so we start with 3 gallons. Anyway, so that was method one, is to start cold, get it up to temperature, and hold it at temperature for half an hour. Method two is to get it hot first, and by hot, we don't mean super hot, 150 to 160 degrees. First, we get it warm, and then once we're there, we begin the steep. So get the water warm first without the grains in it, and then we begin the steep. And then from there, you wait for your half an hour, and then once you're done, you're done. So 2 methods of doing that. We don't know really the big difference because we've never brewed the same beer. In order for us to really do taste tests, and in the future, we're going to do this. In the future, in order for us to do taste test kind of things, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to brew the same batch of beer, and we're going to have to alter one component. So, for example, we will make a Chuckanut brown ale. And maybe we'll brew 10 gallons of Chuckanut brown ale, since we already know we like it. And we'll do cold steep with one, and we'll do hot steep with the other, and we'll see how that turns out. And then the next one, maybe we'll do, then we'll add the hops 20 minutes earlier or 10 minutes later, and just see how that changes things. But the idea is you got to do identical beers and only change one thing so that you can discover how all these things change things. I mean, there's lots of people who have done lots of work. There's no reason to reinvent the wheels per se. Let's click on this. Oh, wrong button. That's the one I want, right there. Oh, geez. Lots of work. There's no reason to. Let's turn the volume down. I already hear myself speaking, but I want to be able to see if there are any comments. So anyways, what was I talking about? No reason to reinvent the wheel. People like Citroen hops already give a certain flavor that people can vaguely describe. This yeast does that. This yeast does that, right? But if you don't know personally, beyond doing a lot of book learning or actually experiencing it yourself, then you're always at the mercy of a recipe. And you can never alter things. You know, it's like, I want it just a little bit more chocolatey, or I want it just a little bit more, not a lot hoppy. I want it just a little more hoppy or a little less hoppy. I want to alter my flavors, yada, yada, yada. You can't do that if you don't know. So in the future, we're going to be brewing some identical batches, and we're going to change one component. One of the batches will be as per the recipe that we get, and then the next batch will be as per the recipe you get with some sort of alteration. So that's the goal. Anyways, after the 30 minutes, remove the grain bag and discard. Do not squeeze. Now this recipe is very important. Do not squeeze. Although we have other recipes that we did an American IPA from a different brew supply house, Whidbey Brew Supply. Anyhow, we got a recipe from them, and it said nothing about not squeezing. So we're going to have to look into why you would not squeeze that bag. Although we do know that with tea, they highly recommend that you don't squeeze your tea bag if you're done making a cup of tea. So there's something to it, but we don't know what it is. Maybe we'll talk about that on the program. In fact, we'll fire up the iPad, look up some articles, and see what's up. All right, so after that, we add the 6.6 pounds of golden LME. Do your best to fully dissolve before the extract, before applying to direct heat. Now, this is another thing where we've got differences. In Whidbey Brew Supply, their recipe says bring to a boil. This recipe says add the malts and then bring to a boil. So again, that might be completely unimportant, or it might change the way the beer is. Another thing to change, just to have fun and discover new things about the world of brewing beer. Add hop packet number 1 right at 60 minutes. So right as soon as you get your nice rolling boil, throw the hop packets in. Hopefully we don't boil it over. We are notorious for boiling over our wort, and I'm sure somehow we've managed to get good beers every single time. But yeah, that's a bad habit on our part. And then 15 minutes remaining, throw in hop packet number 2. After the hour, remove the kettle from the heat, cover with lid, and cool as quickly as possible to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, cooling quickly, that's something that we learned about. We had one beer. We actually made an IPA that turned out really weird. Very drinkable. I actually kind of liked it. I thought it tasted good. But Steve was very disappointed in it, and his main thing was like, this is not an IPA. I mean, it's hoppy, but it's not an IPA. This does not qualify in my mind as an IPA. And he's right, it was very dark. But we looked at it and kind of chucked through a few of the notes, and he said, you know, we did not cool this one quickly. We just kind of let it cool off by itself because we didn't know. And so we looked into some of the things for the cooling, and you know, no, because I'm thinking about the yeast, because I know why you want to make sure you don't want to pitch your yeast warm, and there's a very important reason beyond killing your yeast. Obviously, if you're too hot, you're going to kill your yeast, and that's no good. But you don't want to pitch your yeast too warm because you can also produce off flavors. Some of the yeast will die, and as their cells rupture, they release bad flavors. The big thing it does is it changes the flavor of the beer. You know, sometimes it's completely drinkable, but I cannot remember why it's important to cool. Hey, Steve, I'm glad you're here, man. Do you remember why it's important to cool the wort quickly? Beyond just infection, there was something. Do you remember?
Because it's like when you bake cookies. If you pull them out of the oven, they still continue to bake. So you want to cool that wort as soon as possible, so it doesn't keep, you know, brewing and brewing in a sense.
Right.
So
was that the big thing? Was that what we figured out? It was just basically, it's like, if you don't cool it quickly,
it just keeps going, and then it changes the dynamic of the beer.
Right. Particularly with your hops, I imagine.
I don't remember all the chemical and scientific names of what happens, but I just know that you will not have the intended beer if you cool it too slow. So
right, because it'll be kind of like you added your hops at 15 minutes, but then you let it boil for another 40 minutes, and so what's the point of the recipe?
That you just altered the chemical makeup of the beer.
Sweet. Did you get everything done in there?
Yeah, everything's ready in there, so we could start here. I thought you were going to start the water already.
No, I've been chatting and talking. I probably should have. All right, let's do cold steeping today, just because it's easier. Although I bet you didn't get your aiming flame, did you?
I don't even have one.
You don't have an aiming flame?
I don't know what happened to it.
I have
kids. I have kids. That's what happens.
Yeah, you're right. You have kids. There you go. And that just explains everything. All right.
Ready?
Yep. Perfect. I think I still have most of the hair on my hand. That's the most dangerous part of this whole thing. So exciting. All right. You want this? Well, it is cold in here. We could just like, ooh, that's kind of nice. You gonna throw the water in right away, or?
Yeah.
All right. So you do that. Hand me the. Just throw the water in. Just.
Here, you get the.
Yeah, I'll get this going.
Okay, ready.
All right. Yeah, get the water in. Little warpage from heat there, huh?
You want these bottles when we're done?
Sure, I'll take them.
Because none of the kind you use for your house. So.
They are. Those are the kind we use. I dream of the day when we can just drink water out of our tap again. Like, you can drink our water. It's just really, really hard.
Oh, because well water.
Mm-hmm. It would be really cool if you put the water in the pot. Not even a snarky comment.
Well, because I'm getting irritated.
No,
About the water, not you. Because every time I open one up, like squishes out.
Maybe open it up while it's still on the floor. Did I tell you the other day I was getting water and it just went everywhere because one of those stupid little plastic tape handles gave up on me.
Oh, nice.
And it was windy, and so I'm soaked and I'm cold and I still have like 8 gallons of water that I still need to fill up. It was a bad day. It was a bad day.
You gotta find the thermometer too.
Yeah, that would be cool. Finding thermometers is awesome.
It's in the bucket. Those buckets serve multi-purposes. Storage, cleaning.
So basically, it was a good purchase.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead.
And we can always ferment if we ever had to. You know.
We're gonna go ahead and steep the grains, and so we'll bring this up to temperature. So we're gonna do method 1. What did I tell y'all? Method 1 or method 2? I think I mentioned cold steeping first. So that's method 1. We're gonna do method 1 today. We're just gonna go ahead and start steeping our grains right away. And then we're gonna just move our way up through the temperature zones until we get to our desired 150 to 160 degrees. And then we'll hold for half an hour. By the way, what am I drinking?
Stone IPA.
Why is the label upside down? Did they do that on purpose?
That's intentional, yeah. It's just for fun. Because I guess you like always have the bottle tipped up in their way they're. It's marketing, I'm sure.
Okay. As long as it's. So, Stone IPA. She's upside down. No, I'm not going to turn the bottle over so you can read it. I will read this. Was Stone IPA your dad's beer 20 years ago? If so, what a trailblazer. It's kind of hard to read upside down. Less than 1/100% of beer drinkers had ever even tried a Stone IPA 20 years ago. Your dad changed that. That's not the most amazing paragraph to put on the back of a beer bottle, especially when it's upside down. So, where was I? We were talking about cooling wort. So anyway, we got to cool the wort quickly. To date, in our broadcasts, we have not actually bothered to do a wort cooling session, mainly because it would require moving so much stuff, the camera and everything, and all this. In the future, we have a wort chiller. We just don't know how to hook it up to a hose.
Well, we just don't have the right attachments.
Yeah, so we need to get an adapter
today.
So, in any case, in the future, everything's in the future. Keep coming back. Keep watching. New, exciting things are happening. Kind of. Please. All right. So 60, so we cool it as quickly as possible. Fill your sanitized primary fermenter with 2 gallons of cold water, which the reason for doing that is so that you don't heat shock your glass carboy and have it break all over, because glass shards in beer are not desirable. I don't know if you can even filter that stuff out.
No, I think if that happened, I would just dump the.
Well, we probably wouldn't have to. It'd be all over the floor.
I mean, like, if there's any kind of glass in the beer, I would just not take that chance.
No, you don't want to.
It would go down the drain.
Yep. All right. So anyways, that's the main reason for throwing the cold water into your primary fermenter first, particularly if you're using a glass carboy instead of plastic buckets. Plastic buckets apparently have gotten very popular. Didn't you say Ben?
Yeah, Ben likes he uses like a huge 8-gallon bucket.
Wow.
To do his primary fermentation. He just runs a hose off of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he was touting plastic for carboys too because they're lighter weight. I told him my concern about, at the microscopic level, plastic's porous. But he said that it's pretty negligible. He wouldn't have to worry about it. But I don't know. I still think I get a better product with glass though. We'll see.
Of course, it's probably easier to generally clean a plastic bucket because you don't have that narrow neck. You just reach down inside it. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of brewers that use plastic, and I guess there's really nothing wrong with it.
Tradition.
Well, I'm more concerned about bacteria. So.
Fiddler on the Roof. Tradition.
Hi, lady.
Tradition.
I have to go get the case.
All right.
Have fun doing that. What are you looking for? Oh. You left one on the end table over there.
It's not open though.
So, we've cooled our wort. After we cool our wort, bye, Brandy. We say goodbye to Brandy. And then we pitch our yeast. And we discussed why it's important to pitch
Love you,
yeast.
bye.
Love you, bye.
That's my line.
Okay, sorry. She laughed. All right. Did you ever see Paint Your Wagon?
No, I've never seen that.
Oh, you haven't seen Paint Your Wagon? Clint Eastwood sings.
No.
He actually sings really well.
Okay.
Okay, do you know why I'm saying Paint Your Wagon?
No.
All right, so sidebar, but we do that a lot because we are a very professional broadcast and we're waiting. You got your phone for the timer because my phone is being a monitor.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so anyways, in Paint Your Wagon, there's, the guy's name is Marv. Very famous actor, and I can't remember him. Remember Marv? Okay. I suggest you watch Paint Your Wagon. It's a good show.
Like, I'm never gonna have time to do that, but I'll consider that.
Figure it out. Maybe we'll watch Paint Your Wagon on Northwest Brewmeister's Brew Day one day.
Okay.
It's actually, the whole musical is shorter than one of our broadcasts, so.
Nice.
In any case, the reason I bring it up is because in Paint Your Wagon, the two main characters, Clint Eastwood and Marv, what's his face? Anyways, they're prospectors, right? The whole thing is kind of about a prospecting town, but it's not about prospecting. Anyways, they run into a girl and they are like, well, the Mormons, you know, they have one man and two wives, so why can't this be one wife and two husbands? And they kind of go from there.
Oh.
It gets a little weird after that. But,
Right.
it's okay.
Okay.
Love you, bye, Caroline, haha.
Okay, gotcha.
Maybe not as funny as I thought it was. I'm laughing inside.
So you
I'm dying.
you get the context of it because you've seen the movie. I've never seen the movie.
It's a good movie. Clint Eastwood is actually a pretty good singer. Well, I don't know if he is
That seems
now.
awfully high, man.
Oh,
But that's right. Whatever.
it looks right though. See, monitoring.
Okay.
Your head's not cut off.
No, that's fine.
All right. So, anyways, off of polygamy and back to pitching yeast. Add the yeast when the temperature of the wort is between 65 and 72 degrees. We discussed this on a previous episode where we just looked up a lot of things about why it's important to pitch yeast at the proper time and not too warm because of the off temperatures. If it's too warm, if it's excessively warm, then you can actually kill your yeast. If it's just too warm, then your yeast will react in weird ways. Some of it will die. It will release off temperatures. That's where the large
Off flavors.
off flavors, right? That's where the large scientific terms came in.
Yeah, I don't remember what they were.
Acetylmaldehyde or something.
You can make your beer taste like apple juice or other fruity style flavors if you pitch your yeast with the wort too hot.
But not good apple juice.
No, just kind of give it a sweet aftertaste that's not intended.
After we do that, chuck an airlock on that bugger, throw in the dark, and wait for a couple weeks. And at that point, it's time to brew more beer. And to rack into a second thing. Have we discussed racking? Should we talk about racking?
We talked about racking and we keep telling them we're going to show them the racking process, but we just never do because we're pressed for time today, and so we just had to kind of do stuff.
Because we're professional.
We had to do stuff beforehand, and it's just So we're not going to show you racking today, but we've discussed it a few times, I think.
Yeah. Did we talk about how part of the reason for racking is the whole, I'm sure we did talk about the reason that is because having the beer in contact with the trub.
Yeah.
And it can produce, again, off flavors. Off flavors is like the buzzword in beer world. You ever notice that? An infection.
It can change the beer, and then racking also helps clarify it because you get some of that, or most of that sediment out of your beer. And when you rack it into a secondary container, it sits there for another few weeks or so, and whatever sediment might have transferred in just falls to the bottom. And then when you transfer it to your keg, some people even rack it up maybe even a third or fourth time, depending on how serious they want to be about it. But once you transfer it out of that, it's pretty much trub free.
Yeah.
Unless you go through the process of filtering, but that's not really
I
necessary.
don't even know how to filter at our level. Like, what, coffee filter?
I don't know what you would use.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know.
Whatever kind of food grade filters out there, you'd have to get them probably. They have to be, sealed, like hermetically sealed, so they're sanitary. So I really don't know. Something to look at later, I guess.
So we're doing good with that. What were we up to last?
A little over 110. So still got a little bit to go.
Yeah. Cool. Transfer. Then it says rack the beer, siphon into a 5-gallon secondary fermenter, prepare to bottle, which
We don't bottle.
but we will.
We've done this type of beer before. This is probably one of the easier beers we've done.
But it's delicious.
It only has 2 types of hops in it. It has a small grain sack, and it's relatively straightforward to brew.
Pretty relatively straightforward to brew.
Pretty relatively straightforward.
Pretty relatively straightforward. I like that. That's good. Cool. So what should we look up, man? Is there anything interesting?
No, if we ever get around to actually planning our sessions, we'll have things to talk about instead of just trying to figure it out on the fly. But
That's crazy talk, man. Planning a session.
We had kind of talked about something that we were going to discuss this week. I forgot what it was now.
Yeah, I forgot what we were going to talk about also.
Because we talked about yeast. We've talked about, I don't know, maybe we could talk about water.
Water profiles?
Water profiles, yeah.
Ooh, water profiles. That'd be cool. But before we talk about water profiles, you want to talk about irony?
Sure.
Okay, so maybe this isn't irony. I think it's irony. This happened to me today. Do you want to know what irony is?
Sure.
10-car stack up in the left lane because a Lamborghini is camping out. You know what camping out in the left lane is, right?
Right, just hogging the left lane, not moving.
Right, and not moving and not driving fast, right?
It's a Lamborghini.
Lamborghini.
What, the driver's an 8-year-old person or something?
I don't know.
You know?
It passed me at one point. I was like, oh, cool, it's a Lamborghini. No, stretch your legs, let's see you go. No. We were in a 60-mile-an-hour zone. I was doing 60. He passed me.
Okay.
And then I sped up to 70 and pretty much paced him because, everyone does 10 miles an hour with the speed limit.
Roughly, yeah.
And then we got south of town, out into the flats. It's like the speed limit goes to 70. I'm like, go, man! It's like, are you kidding me? Like, that's something that's
You have a Lamborghini.
it's a sin. It's a sin. It's a sin. It's a sin to not drive a Lamborghini. What was interesting?
At least once you gotta open it up. Come on, it's a Lamborghini.
Is it like 3 or 4 minutes later? I got my doors
That's
blown
why
by
I wonder
a
if it's freaking some
Honda Focus.
some ancient person.
Or a Ford Focus, one of those little hatchback Focuses that they like to
Right.
play around with.
Some like rich old fart that's afraid to use their car.
Well, you gotta admit, most people who are rich enough to own Lamborghinis are old.
Or very young YouTube stars.
I want to be young.
And TikTok and you know what? So anyway, whatever.
No sour grapes on that. Losers.
I don't know about Twitch anymore. Twitch seems to ban people for the stupidest things, so I don't know if Twitch would be worth working with, you know what I mean?
Maybe.
Because apparently somebody got banned because their name, their handle, whatever, was deemed offensive. It was no George here.
No George here.
Or no, I'm sorry, George not found. I don't know.
George not
Yeah,
found.
I don't know what this person's, topics are, whatever, gaming more than likely. I think he's a Minecraft streamer, but anyway, yeah, his streamer name is George Not Found, and then he had a alternate, which was very close to it, but Twitch's algorithm flagged it as offensive and banned him, like permabanned this guy. They're getting ridiculous because they keep banning people for various reasons. I mean, I'm sure some of them are legitimate, but it seems like some of these people that get banned, there's no explanation. Because all of a sudden, boom, you're banned for violating. Well, what did I violate? And they don't get an answer, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, so the only recourse for that is just like new things will show up.
Service.
Yeah, well, just look like, so WhatsApp, right? I mean, WhatsApp came on with some pretty heavy-handed privacy stuff, right? Weren't you saying? There's they're requiring WhatsApp.
Oh, I don't know about
Oh,
WhatsApp.
that's right, you don't use WhatsApp.
I'm not.
Anyways,
WhatsApp.
so WhatsApp is, it's.
I know what it is, but I'm not.
Right, so it's owned by Facebook, and it had there's some heavy-handed privacy things. Like, if you don't give this personal information, we're not gonna let you use the thing. And it's like, a few people are gonna get bunged up here and there, but eventually what will happen is people will leave, and they'll go to Telegram, And once Telegram does stupid things, then something new will come up.
Telegram already tried to do a stupid thing. They tried to get into the cryptocurrency, game, but they failed at it. But I don't know the details of it.
Yeah, but
they
how did
tried
that-
to create a cryptocurrency, and I guess like last second they didn't get approved. But whatever. We're not here to talk about cryptocurrencies. We're here to talk about beer.
I thought we were going to just talk about whatever we wanted.
Oh, we knew that too.
But how close are we? Pretty close. Like,
It's
you set the timer.
Yeah, timer's already set. It's gonna. It's
Well, I mean, did you hit go on?
No, we're not there. We're not that close.
I gotta find my glasses. Here's my
But it's close enough that I want to get the flame down so that we don't go over our mark. Because we're at 148.
What was I looking at? Oh,
No, I just didn't want to try to explain the cryptocurrency thing with Telegram because one, I don't know much about it. Two, I just know it didn't go through, and I'm glad it didn't because I think it would have been just not good. Personally, I don't trust this cryptocurrency thing. I know it seems to be a huge thing, but I just don't trust it. I don't know where this valuation comes from.
it's imaginary, kind of like the American dollar.
You know? Yeah, agreed.
Well, you got to think. I mean, especially after a $1.9 trillion bailout thing, where they're just inventing money. I mean, that's what's the United States GDP?
When I was in college, it was like 13, 14 trillion.
Oh, trillion?
Yeah, GDP.
Our GDP is? Oh, I guess that's not too bad then.
When it was like 13, 14 trillion when I took
Yes, let's do that.
like I'm trying, timer's on by the way.
Okay.
When I took like macro and macroeconomics, I forget. I think it was macros where it showed up first, where I first saw that. Anyway, so yeah, at the time it was 13 or 14 trillion, which is a lot, you know. But who knows who knows if those numbers are inflated or not. I think everything's inflated these days.
Don't be bitter. Don't be bitter. Okay, wait. Beer brewing. Why were we doing that? When to add liquid malt?
Maybe that was left over from
Yeah.
yeah, because we talked about malt last brew day.
Yeah, I think we're talking, well, you know, the other thing I mentioned is, so we're swapping supply stores recipes. The other thing is that with Ben and Trevor, they say, add your malts, add your extracts, and then bring to a boil. But with Terry, it says bring to a boil, then add your extracts.
Yeah.
That's why we were looking this up.
It might just be personal taste because if you bring it back to a boil, it's hot enough that I bet those extracts dissolve sooner. Now maybe that's Terry's line of thinking on that. 153, we are maintaining good temp. And then maybe with Ben and Terry, or not Ben and Terry, Ben and Trevor, excuse me. They're just like, it's good, do it this way, because either way, you're gonna return to the boil no matter what, you know.
Well, yeah, you're gonna get back to the boil, but you know, I wonder, so the malt extracts are primarily sugars. We know this, you know.
Right.
And so I wonder how extended heat applied to sugars changes that.
Yeah, this is definitely where it's the science and the chemistry comes in, knowing how all this stuff works under the hood, you know. There's a lot of home brewers that know that stuff, and they can tell you exactly what's happening. We're getting there. We're just not quite there yet. That's why we rely a lot on the internet and reading blogs and other people we know that brew, that've been brewing longer than us. You know.
Much longer than
And it's fun to learn these things and talk about it with you guys. And maybe, who knows, man, maybe some of you out there watching could give us some pointers or correct us where we're screwing up, you know.
Okay. So caramelizing and burning on the pot, we don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, that usually happens if you put it in there.
When it's boiling and it's on the
Yeah.
flame. Yeah, I know. That's why we usually take it off and put it on the floor and go from there. Simply add the LME before the boil. You just although the water is still fairly hot, you shouldn't have the heat on. Add the LME, scraping out. Take a little longer to boil, but you won't have any burn patch sugar on the bottom of your kettle. All right. Some brewers take varying improved with color and quality. Late malt extract addition method. But this is just beercreation.com. We're reading straight off of a website, which we have not vetted, but he sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
Sounds right.
That's right. It agrees with what I already feel is right, therefore it must be true.
I'm going to hold what I wanted to say and never mind.
Go ahead, say it.
Because it would be politically charged, and this is not a political environment.
I meant to discuss whether we can do politics on this show. Some people make a lot of money by being controversial. Of course, we'd have to.
Yeah, I don't want to tarnish the sanctity of home brewing with politics. Politics can just ruin a good experience. So let's keep politics out of this, man.
Okay, man. I will respect your decision, and you're right. Particularly now, it seems like people just can't handle politics.
Because frankly, I don't care what your political alignment is. If you like homebrewing and drinking beer, then that's okay with me.
Yes.
Even if you vote for the person I don't like, I still would have a beer with you.
You're allowed to do that, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Vote for someone other than me.
Oh, I know. Oh, look at this guy.
Oh, wait, no, that's not what I meant. I mean, you should vote for me. Vote for me. I will do good things. We'll get rid of the EPA, and we will institute the BPA, Beer Protection Agent. That was really bad. I'm going to go back to reading this.
That was bad. We'll let him go back to research.
All right. In a nutshell, late malt extract addition means that you add 75 to 85% of the extract, our malts, which come in our little tubs, in the last 15 minutes of the boil. Only about 15 to 25% is added at the beginning of the boil. Why add it later? Main reason, the Maillard reaction.
A new word.
Yeah, I gotta go back up and find out. I have to look that up.
Yeah, we're still maintaining. We're getting a little warm now.
There it is. So we're gonna go back.
We're on the high end, bro. I'm gonna turn down the heat a little bit more.
All right, you rock and roll. You control that. Maillard reaction. Okay. So that's where did I go? Okay, so that's the late extract. Drawbacks of the late. Why add it later is the Maillard reaction. In order to produce a lighter colored beer and avoid the chemical reason which happens when you boil sugar with amino acid, the bulk of the extract is added later. Okay, so you've got your amino acids or your proteins or whatever from the specialty grains, right?
Oh.
And then you add the sugars and then you boil them together and you're going to get a chemical reaction, which we're going to read about in a minute. Because I don't think we actually read about the Maillard reaction.
It doesn't sound like we did, yeah.
L-L-A-R-D. M-A-I-L-L-A-R-D.
Maillard.
Or Mallard. Not Mallard, like a duck. So I'm going to say Maillard.
Maillard. I'm going to go with Maillard.
Maillard. Yes.
Maillard.
Okay, we'll go with that.
So, Maillard reaction, okay.
Yeah, and it's up here. There's a link, so we'll go with that. So the big thing you get is in order to produce a lighter colored beer and avoid the chemical reason, which happens when you boil sugar with amino acid, the bulk of the extract is added later. So you're going to get a lighter beer. I wonder if like your macro brews do that method. Because they're all very light beers. By the way, I was trying to find a Coors Banquet clone yesterday. Fail. Like I couldn't find a clone.
They might be guarding that recipe I mean, that's proprietary, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, but there's lots of clones out there. There's all sorts of clones.
Well, sure, I get that, but
just make it taste like
you
it.
either got to try to figure it out yourself or write the brewer, but more than likely, since they're a big conglomerate brewery, they're probably not going to be very forthcoming. I know a friend of mine, the original friend that got me into brewing, he was working on a clone. I want to say it was Sam Adams. He was trying to do a clone of Sam Adams. I think, I might be confusing this. This was a long time ago, and he wrote their brewer, and he said the response was just very kind of standoffish, like the guy didn't want to give up their trade secrets, which it's understandable, their business, you know. But then he was cloning, I think, Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, and he wrote their brewer, and that guy was like, "Oh yeah, make your adjustments here, do this to that, and then you'll have our beer." And so it just depends on the business, you know. Some people are more forthcoming with their process. Some people are not. You know, some brewers are not. Some people get offended if you you want to take their recipe and alternate. Maybe use somebody's recipe as a baseline and then make adjustments to kind of personalize it. Some people get upset by that. I don't know why, but they would, especially if they're just regular home brewer and not not making any money off of it.
Oh, it's like that guy Terry was talking about.
Yeah, the guy got all bent out of shape because he wanted to adjust his recipe.
Yeah, he said, "I love your recipe. I want to do this," and the guy just got bent.
He got bent about it. Yeah.
It's like, how dare you? It's like, well, then what? I don't get it. I don't know.
Oh well.
All right. So that's basically what you're gonna get. Your beer's gonna get a lighter color. Maybe we should try that with our IPAs. You know how the IPAs are a little bit darker?
Mm-hmm.
They're not super pale. We should try that. Have we made a pale ale yet? Just pale ale?
Not a standard pale ale. We've done IPAs, stouts, brown ales, Kolsch's,
cream ale.
Cream ale. We have not done
Nut
a
brown
good
ale.
old fashioned nut brown. We haven't done a good old fashioned just pale ale.
More IPAs.
We should do that. Those are easy to recall too, because those magazines that I have from like 15 years ago have tons of recipes in them.
It's probably pale ales were probably super popular back then.
A lot of them are clone recipes too of various microbrews out there, and yeah, let me handle this. Yeah. By the way, we have 20 minutes left on the boil.
All right, sweet. Well, in the meantime, while you're doing that, here we go. So lighter beers if you add most of your malt extracts later in the process. So this guy's talking about it in the process of boiling. And one of Trevor's first recipe, do you remember that? The first recipe we got from Trevor and Ben, Northwest Brewers. Remember their recipe said add all of the extracts, and then later on it said now add these extracts. And of course we had added all the extracts because the step said
There was a typo.
add all the extracts.
Yeah,
That's interesting. We're gonna have to do this.
Yeah, we should try that. We need to maybe break out of the baseline recipes that we're doing and start kind of experimenting with some of these other processes. Maybe use some of the recipes that we're comfortable with, but then try some of these other processes on those. What do you think?
Oh, I think absolutely. I think the next time we brew, which will be in a couple weeks here, right?
Yeah.
We need to do a double batch or figure out a way to do a half batch if we can. I would much rather do a half batch, like do 2 half batches. We got 2, all we need is another pot. But if you ask me, I would rather do 2 half batches and make 5 gallons of beer than make 2 double batches. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because we're not going to make bad beer.
We just bring the other burner over and just run two boils at the same time. Have 2 primary fermenters ready. Like when we do this, and we'll get this one ready like the night or two before.
Yeah.
And just have everything exactly ready so we can start.
Yep.
I think it'd be fun though to do 2 batches and then note the differences in what we're doing, how we're altering them, and then just we'll do that journal thing we've been talking about forever. We're failing as home brewers because we're not keeping a journal. But then again, we're not trying to create our own recipes. We're not trying to experiment too heavy yet. So if we ever go all grain and try to design our own true recipe, then the journal would definitely come in handy for that, because you need to document what you did, how you did it, what the temperatures were, how much of this, X, Y, Z, ABC. I'm sure you all get that, because if you want to try to repeat that badass beer that you just made, you got to know what you did and when, or you'll probably never be able to make that same batch again.
All right, so that sounds, and I talked about that at the very beginning while you still were getting things ready. The idea that we've got to do a standard recipe, and we'll do one like a control, and then the other one's the experiment. So,
yeah.
All right, so we're gonna make Chuckanut brown ale again. This is the control.
But we're gonna change the hops or whatever we do.
Yeah. And in this one we're gonna add 75. So we'll cut out. We'll only add 25% of the extracts at the beginning.
Oh,
right. That seems like an easy one to do, because then we don't have to we're just experimenting with. We're experimenting with ingredients we already have, and all we're doing is playing around with time.
Change the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Which time and temperature affect your beer, and
because of the Maillard reaction, which we're going to look up in a minute here. So drawbacks of late extraction method: as you will have a lower sugar to hops ratio during much of your boil, there will be a big difference in the finished beer compared to if you had added all the LME from the get-go, liquid malt extract. Simply put, you will have a better efficiency when it comes to extracting alpha acids from your hops. So your beer will be more bitter. This can be great if that's something you like. If it's not your goal, then try reducing your overall hop spill by 20%. So now we get crazy. Now we're adding the malts later, but we're reducing the hops, trying to get to the same approach, like trying to get to the same beer.
Right.
Which I don't know if that's very beneficial or makes much sense. Why you would want to make things more difficult for yourself.
It's our way. We're maintaining ideal temperature. I don't think we've been this close
ever,
as far as like keeping that perfect middle ground in the temperature. It hasn't broken 160, and It's maintained it's about 154 right now, 55. So we have 16 minutes remaining on the boil. So, or the steeping, excuse me, we're not boiling.
So this guy,
This one smells really good. I really like the aroma that this one's putting off. This has a nice,
it's because you're maintaining the temperature so perfectly. I'm
Exactly.
sure. Yeah, that's it. This guy.
I gotta go get the our thing here that we put the sack in that you take home with you.
Right. The pan.
The bowl,
Bowl.
whatever it is.
Anything to prevent putting a sugary mesh bag of grain on the floor of your garage.
Right. I prefer to keep this floor not sticky.
All right, go ahead and go get that. I'm gonna keep writing, reading this.
All right, how's your beer, by the way?
I got like a third left.
Oh, you'll be ready to win that
Okay.
by the time I get back.
Mhm.
Munchies? Chips?
I'm good for now. Maybe next time we kind of have a transition period.
Okay.
All right, so in terms of the quality, this guy says, what's better, liquid malt extract or dry malt extract? This guy says, in terms of quality of beer, he says he's found no real difference. Assuming that your extract is still viable, then it just comes out what's easier for you to use. Dry malt is easier to use if you need to weigh it and aren't using the entire packet. However, if you are using the entire packet, then liquid malt is easier to add to the boiling wort, as it won't clump up. Like if you've ever added flour to boiling water to try and thicken up a gravy or something, then it just gets all clumpy. What can you use instead of malt extract? Nothing. There are no substitutes. All right. Actually, this is not true. It says in order to make true beer, you're going to need the fermentable sugars, which come from malt grains, in order to get the flavor and characteristics of your beer. So you can't just use cane sugar. It's not going to react the same. If you aren't using LME or DME, then you'll have to produce your own fermentable sugars by mashing your grains. So in other words, you're going to have to be all grain brewing. That's exactly what it's saying. All grain brewing, which Steve wants to do. And because I love my buddy Steve, we're going to do it one day. Maybe that's what we should.
I just want
We should spend our stimulus package on all grain brewing.
I think I don't want to call it a rite of passage, but it's a way to level up. But then once we do it once, I just want to get that notch in our brewing belt, if I may. And then whether we like it or if we don't like it, then we can always just go back to extract. He's not really a friend, but an acquaintance we mentioned before. This guy is like a master brewer, wins awards, and he is all about extract brewing. So, if he can do it, then we can do it. Maybe not as good as he does yet, but the fact that this guy is a master brewer with awards and he still touts extract, that makes me feel more comfortable staying in that extract zone, because it is easier to deal with extracts than it is, all grain.
It takes less time.
It takes less time. It's actually a little less expensive. Because you don't have to buy the grains, the other grains to make your malts, and then there's less margin for error, because when you're doing your sparging and mashing and all that, well, if the temperature's wrong or whatever, you can actually just change the dynamic of the beer, and you may not get what you want. Then again, it might be one of those accidental good things. The point is, there's a lot more work and complexity with an all grain brew, especially if you do some really strange beers, but. I just want to at least get it under my belt once, just like with bottling. We have yet to bottle a batch of beer, so we've always caked it because it's just easier, and it's easier to clean up when you're done. It's easier to drink in some cases. It's not easier to share though, because you can't.
That's the only drawback. It's harder to
haul a
share.
keg around, but
it's so nice.
if you get enough people over, they can have your beer right at your place.
It's true. So it's like 11:30 at night. You're about ready to go to bed, but you want a little more beer. But you don't want a whole 12 ounces. You just want a little more beer. Just a couple
That's
ounces.
where the keg comes in.
3 or 4 ounces. Kegs, awesome. Just a little beer, you're done.
How was that?
Do it again. Now we're up to 12 ounces. Might as well have opened a bottle. Made me do it 3 times. They're 4-ounce shots. They work. I happen to know. That's 4 ounces.
That's good.
That's 3. That's just 2. You can't do
That's
one
just
ounce.
foam.
That's just foam.
Hmm.
All right, so
All right.
anyways, end of the day, you either got to use an extract or you got to make your own. Well, you have to make your own extract is what you do, because that's what the all grain brewing method is. You're extracting. I mean, the LNEs and the DNEs are just dehydrated extracts for packaging, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, you want beer? You got to do fermentables and extracts. Let's go back up here. Scrolling. Mallard reaction. Bam. Let's check this out. Oh, it's Wikipedia.
Well, in that case, let's find another source.
That dude could have been a crack addict from Lower Detroit who'd never tasted beer in his life and just cobbled together a whole bunch of Wikipedia things.
It's true. You probably right then.
We did not vet that other thing at all.
All right. Well, we're gonna.
Here's my take on Wikipedia. If I was a college professor, yes, I would fail you. It'd be like,
Right.
it's like you have a citation as Wikipedia. Whole paper's done.
I think you just
You're
cut
done.
and pasted that anyway.
Yes, you're done. But here's the thing, especially for something like this. I mean, here's the whole thing about Wikipedia is that people who make Wikipedia articles are smart, nerdy, arrogant people.
Right. You know, I think better to prove somebody wrong.
There's nothing better for a smart. I know I'm a smart person. I love proving people wrong. It's like
You're wrong.
you're wrong, and let me show you why. It's just like forums. What's the best way? All right, you don't know something, whatever it is.
You go look.
You're working on no. You're working on a carburetor, right? Let's say you did your due diligence and you looked up like 8 or 9 different sites, and you cannot find the answer to this one thing.
Right. You ask
You
for
don't-
them usually.
Yeah, but you don't ask it for it. This is not what you do. You know what you do to get the right answer? Go put the wrong answer in and say, this is the way you do this. Within 3 days, you will have more information on that subject than you ever wanted, and you'll have your answer.
Genius.
It's duplicitous, it's manipulative, but you will get your
Get
answer.
your answer.
And if you ever surf a forum where somebody says the wrong thing?
Oh yeah. They're just
They get on them
they
like
get flamed like crazy, man.
yeah, it's like a wounded cow in the Amazon, just piranha. I'm telling you, smart people, they love proving other people wrong. Actually, the other thing is whenever you know something, you like to, it's fun to say, I know this. How we doing?
We have 8 minutes left. Temp wise, we're still
All right, in the zone. That is, wow. That is
we're
pretty
in the
good.
zone.
All right, you ready? Ready to learn about the Maillard reaction?
We lost fire.
Oh, well, you gonna burn the hairs off my hand again?
I'm not going to try it.
All right, hold on. Now you're gonna have to take it off and do this because I can't light it. I can't light it with the pot on it with a zip on. All right.
It'll be fine.
For the meal be fine. I'm sure we're not gonna. Go ahead. Keep going. Oh, that was.
Oh. Ready?
No. All right, go ahead. Perfect. Just sitting here breathing raw propane in a garage with the door closed.
Yeah, that was smart.
It's all about the lighting, man. Come on, you got to sacrifice for the show.
Okay. 720. Then we'll do our. Yeah, we're so good. Definitely.
Fortunately, it's not about flame, it's about temperature, so we're good. Nice. All right, so Maillard reaction, chemical reaction between amino acids and reducing sugars. Just a minute. A reducing sugar is any sugar that is capable of acting as a reducing agent because it has a free aldehyde group or free ketone group. Well, and that's as deep as we need to go on that. I mean, I would love to get into big polysyllabic words, but we're brewing beer. Let's not be
I
ridiculous.
know, right? We're not.
Anyways.
We're not teaching a chemistry class.
Right. So it's chemical reaction between amino acids and reducing sugars that gives brown food its distinctive flavor.
Okay.
Seared steaks, fried dumplings, cookies, other kinds of biscuits, breads, toasted marshmallows, many other foods undergo this reaction. Named for the French chemist Louis Camille Mal. It's French. It's Maillard.
Yeah.
We just skip most of the letters. I don't know. I know a French guy. Like literally, he lives in France now. His name's Fred Nemo. He's a musician. I should get a hold of him and ask him how he would say it. He would probably be like, "You live in America, say it Mallard." Like, seriously, that's probably what Fred would say. Anyways, named after French chemist Louis Camille Maillard, who first described it in 1912 while attempting to reproduce biological protein synthesis. Interesting. So he was trying to do something else. The reaction is a form of non-enzymatic browning in which typically proceeds rapidly from around 140 to 165 degrees Celsius, 280 to 330 Fahrenheit. Many recipes call for an oven temperature high enough to ensure that a Maillard reaction occurs at higher temperatures. Caramelization, the browning of sugars, and subsequently pyrolysis or pyrolysis, Pyrolysis. So not paralysis, pyrolysis. Final breakdown leading to burning become more pronounced. The reactive carbonyl group of the sugar reacts with the nucleophilic amino acid of the amino acid and forms a complex mixture of poorly characterized molecules responsible for a range of aromas and flavors. I should probably stop now.
Yeah, it's getting a little deep.
Yes, because now we're into our.
This is where like the onions
subscript
their eyes start glazing over. They're just
superscript plus
get on with it.
But I want to say the word deprotonated because
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's in blue. We could look it up too. So, I actually think the other guy might not be 100% right. Because this is all talking about roasting. Look, fried onions. What's that? This?
Are the comments loose sided? You're receiving a call?
I am. I don't even know what to do here.
Do you need to take it? Then you go take it.
No, she can leave a message. That's Ilza Kurganov. She's not Russian. She's Latvian. She's from Latvia.
Okay.
She can leave a message. I didn't answer. We'll get to
Is
it.
she watching us?
What's that?
Is she watching us?
No. The only people watching us is us. I'm pretty sure.
Us and Tom from MySpace.
Yeah, Tom from MySpace. Not even Tom from MySpace. We only got that once. I'm pretty sure those were the Haps guys jumping in, making sure that this was,
Right.
like
Not
a good
inappropriate
experience, or just saying, hey, there's people that watch these things. There's real people. This is the Deschutes. What do you got?
Same thing.
You got the Mirror Pond.
What did you get? Oh, they're all
Fresh
the same.
squeezed. No, because we drank.
That's right,
the
the
two.
multi-pack, wasn't it?
Yes. So.
We're all frozen up again.
That happens. Are we frozen up here?
Both of them.
No, that's probably because of the phone call.
Possibly. What app is that? Is that
This is Haps.
No. What is the app that you were receiving that phone call on?
It was just because everything is all connected.
Is your iPad connected to your phone line? Oh, okay.
My iPad is connected to my cell phone. I didn't mean for that to happen, but it did. And I don't know. I don't necessarily like it. I'm sure that Apple spins it as something very beneficial, but I don't know. I don't think it's that.
Okay.
I don't think it's that amazing.
Because I kind of didn't see the point of, like, why would my tablet be connected to my phone line? Like even in the Android world, it was like that. But like Samsung, you could go to AT&T, whoever, and they would like, oh, you can get a line for your tablet.
Yeah, you want everything connected? It's like, no.
I mean, I guess it might benefit some people. I don't know, but my cell phone is enough for me. I don't need my tablet at the same time because my phone is not far from me typically. But that's just me though. Everybody's different. I get that.
Well, yeah. I mean, no, it really isn't. See, yeah, I just had something to do with the phone call.
That's all right.
We're moving again. All right. Anyways, back to it. So anyways, That's the whole thing. Something about the sugars reacting gives brown food. So it affects the flavor, and it affects the color.
About a minute and a half. We'll be ready to we'll take it off the flame and then we'll put in our malts.
Got you. Oh, excuse me. These are good beers.
Yeah, man, I agree.
Wow, the color and taste of dried and condensed milk. Dulce de leche. The Sri Lankan confection milk toffee, black garlic, chocolate, toasted marshmallows, and roasted peanuts. Citation needed. 6-acetyl-2,3,4,5 tetrahydropyridine. Ooh.
Here's a big long
Is responsible for the biscuit or cracker-like flavor represented in baked goods such as bread, popcorn, and tortillas. All right, that's enough of this. No more of this. Bad. Enough. All right. Where are we at? Done with that. But you know what we're gonna look up? We're gonna look up water profiles. But we're about ready to start.
Yeah,
doing
we're about
it,
20 seconds away from
Okay.
pulling the bag, letting it drain, and then I'll go in and get the extracts.
Mm-hmm.
There's just two of them for this brew. 6.6 pounds of extract going in here,
And then 2 hops.
and then 2 hops.
One right at the beginning. So this time we're gonna add the extract right now, right?
There we go.
Did you buy a ladle yet?
I have a little.
You have a ladle? All right, you go get. Oh, you got everything. I'm just gonna sit back down then.
I didn't go get a little. I'll bring a little.
Actually,
I'll get a little out when I get the
Here.
extract.
You go get the stuff. I'll hold this
All right.
right like this. And when it's done draining, I'll throw it in the bowl.
Yep, right there by your feet, dude.
Think that's enough? I think it's probably enough. All right. Let's see here. I are smart. Slop. Slop. I'm gonna move over here. Okay, you ready, man?
Yeah, man.
Sweet. Ladle.
I'll just kind of get it right, so we're not having that.
Here's the worst part. I wonder if I can avoid getting sticky today.
Probably not. Oh, excuse me.
There's got to be a way to avoid getting sticky, Steve. Oh, man.
Yeah, offering brewing.
I bet I would get sticky still. Something would make me get sticky.
All right, that one's ready.
Well, you're about to drip. That's why I was doing that. All right.
And just dump this. Get those garbage.
Yep, no worries. I'll be right here. And I'm sticky. I knew it. Damn it.
That's the question. I don't care if you want to bring it to a boil. Let's do it. If not, let's just do it.
Now
Go
let's
back
do
away.
it the way we've done it every single time.
Okay.
Go ahead, stir. We need to get another camera.
All right.
And then we could like do a shot into the pot. Go ahead.
All right.
I'm gonna hold still.
Hold it still. Por favor.
All right, I'll hold it still. You don't dump it all over my thumb.
Sounds good. Did I already have it?
No, not today. In the past.
Right. Right there.
Yep, I agree. Sure. Yep, I figure so.
All right. Throw this inside. Take
Well, wait.
Just in case.
Oh, cramp. I gotta stand up. Shut up. You can just shut your mouth. Yeah, that's what I thought. Might want to shake the heck out of that one. How's that one look?
Yeah, I just need to
That's what I thought.
put some extra in there.
Here, I'm gonna let you do your own ladling. That way there's no chance of burnage. I mean, there's still a chance of burnage, but it won't be my fault. That's really the goal, is to not allow you to blame me. There we go. All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go wash my hands.
Yeah, let's
right
rinse these out and then we'll throw them in the recycle bin.
Okay, I left it right there.
Put this back on the flame. Somewhat centered. All right, we'll be right back.
Sweet. No! All right, let's get to boiling. All right, and we're back. Beer, space, water, profiles. Go. Brewing water target profiles. So this is brewersfriend.com. There are so many brewing sites on the web. Amazing the amount of brewing. Summary of target water profiles. So this is a summary of various target water profiles built into the brewing water and mash chemistry calculator. Ooh. There's a brewing water and mash chemistry calculator. Interesting. So, anyways, they should be seen as guidance rather than strict water profile specifications, especially, no, I do not want to join you today, especially historical water profiles don't take into account water treatment that brewers may have done. Some of the historical profiles shown here also show decarbonate versions, which represents the water profile after alkalinity reduction through either boiling or slaked lime. This basic water profile is suitable for beers ranging from dark golden to deep amber, and generally low ion content should not interfere with the taste of the beer. You know what? I'm probably going to leave this site though because it is very poorly written. That's one way to chase me away, man. If you don't have good grammar and good spelling, I'm going to have to bail because it makes me doubt the rest of it. Even if you're brilliant, you know, it's like, come on, you have to be able to communicate. And this guy just has, so he just has balanced profile 2, light colored and malty, light colored and hoppy, Burden on Trent. Oh, Burden on Trent is known for water with very high sulfate content. The profile has been constructed from a water analysis of Burton well water published in Burton on Trent, its history, its waters, and its breweries from 1869. And then you can load this target into the mash chemistry calculator. Burton on Trent, historic and decarbonated. Interesting. Burton on Trent, known for water, high sulfate content. Historic water product through boiling or slaked lime. Its low residual alkalinity allowed English brewers to brew pale beers. Dortmund. The characteristic of the historic Dortmunder brewing water profile is a high calcium and sulfate content, which lent the Dortmunder export additional bitterness. This water profile has been reconstructed from analysis data given in a 1953 article about residual alkalinity by Kolbach. So, Dortmund, historic and decarbonated, Dublin, dry spout, Edinburgh, London, Munich decarbonated, Pilsen, Dusseldorf, alt beer. Wow, that's very interesting. So, but we're going to have to go back and figure out brewing water profiles. Oops, that's the one that I just tapped on. The one thing that we don't know is how to make these water profiles. It describes them, but you don't know how to make them. All right, moving back. Further. What else do we got? The Beginner's Guide to Brewing Water Chemistry. Right there.
Hey, man. Sorry, I'm getting this a Cowboy. Is that fine? A Cowboy pizza?
Do it.
That's awfully aromatic, dude.
I think it's all right.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it's bad. That's awfully aromatic, dude. We haven't even put the hops in yet, you know?
I smell something burnt myself, but I think that's on the outside. I think maybe that's true. That's what I'm smelling. Just so burnt.
It's kind of weird. I'm not sure what I'm smelling either. But there's nothing like on the side of the...
Well, I don't think we burned. I mean, we dissolved it in here pretty good.
This smells kind of hoppy already.
Really?
Yeah, you don't smell it?
No, I don't really smell it. You don't have a headache, do you?
Do I have a headache?
Just asking.
No. Do you?
No, not really. But you know, we are running a propane burner inside a closed building.
We can crack that.
No, that's all right. I'd rather take the risk. It's more fun that way.
You need some for your head?
No, I do not have a headache. I'm just being silly.
No.
All right, order us a cowboy. If you want to, I mean, we should probably
I'm
explain
getting
that a cowboy is a kind of pizza.
It's a kind of pizza.
Please don't order us a cowboy.
I'm getting cowboy, and I'm also getting my favorite type with jalapeno with mushroom pizza.
I'm thinking I probably won't try that.
That's okay. That's why
It's painful on both ends. There's nothing enjoyable about the way you eat your pizza. Nothing. It is a
masterful.
Yeah. It's a masochistic experience when you eat it, and it's a masochistic experience when you get rid of it. It is pain all the way through. Oh, watch this.
This is a great burner, isn't it?
You see what you tried to do there? Let's get back to the pain all the way through. Entire gastro-digestive pain. Go order the pizzas. I'll be right here.
Brett will take care of that. Which hops do we need first?
The one that says number 1?
Thanks.
No, hold on a second. I'll tell you.
I'm just playing. You're
I know.
right. It's labeled number 1.
Yeah, it does say number 1. Centennial. Yeah, he's not anywhere close.
Centennial hops? No,
Centennial is the first hop.
that's like the all-American hops.
Is it?
Yeah.
Maybe we should look into the history of hops. You want to grow your own hops?
Okay, this is German alt.
German.
Yeah. But okay.
That's the problem.
And
it's supposed to say Centennial and Golding.
These are German alt number 1, German alt number 2, and the yeast says German something or another on it as well.
It doesn't say Y yeast 1275.
No, it says it's white. It's a white yeast brand, but let me find the number.
So what you're telling me is we have no idea what this beer is going to be. None whatsoever. Awesome.
Nope, this is 1007 German ale.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Trevor.
So we're gonna get something a little different this time.
Who knows what this will be, but I think it's time for a phone call, because that's kind of screwed up, dude. You asked for a Chuckanut Brown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's what the recipe is, right?
was he tired? Because he gave you the wrong carboy, too. He gave you the wrong carboy and a screw up. Maybe he gave you somebody else's order.
Bye. Thanks, man.
Love you, bye! I know, it's your line.
What's on the recipe leaflet there?
Chuckanut Brown.
Okay.
And it says,
These are alternatives.
no, they're not alternatives. He screwed up. 50-minute drive to go get this stuff. Those of you that sell things, don't screw up your orders for your people that drive an hour to get to you, which we do, an hour to get to these guys. It's okay. We like it.
So I'm kind of curious. Wonder what our specialty grains are.
I have no idea. I have no idea what this
Maybe
beer
that's
is
why
going
this
to be.
smells funny to me, because I'm like,
Maybe
it smells
it
hoppy
is.
to me, dude. It smells
Yeah, but
hoppy.
we haven't thrown hops in there.
No,
yet.
the hops are right here. Here's our hops right here. So he might have grabbed the wrong stuff, man.
He totally grabbed the wrong stuff. There's no might about it. This is a random kit, man. This is it's like, here, try this, try this, try this. Throw it together, see what happens. What would you do? Leave it in the comments on the YouTube channel, Northwest Brewmeisters. What would you do in this case? I'll tell you what we would do. We continue to brew beer. We'll see what happens.
What's interesting though,
We've already spent the money.
but yeah, it's already. What's interesting though is we're gonna follow the hop schedule for a Chuckanut Brown, but this is clearly a German alt beer.
We got no idea what this is going to taste like. It might be amazing. It might be. Go get a piece of paper. Wait, never mind. You don't need a piece of paper. We have a piece of paper. Except, go get a pen. Right?
Yeah.
You know what? It doesn't matter though, because we don't know what our grains are at all. We have no idea what was in that grain pouch.
We assumed it was the grains for a.
Yeah, but everything else, I mean, well, he did give you 6.6 pounds of LME, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was right. It was
Maybe
Golden
these are-
Light,
maybe
right?
This is an acceptable alternative. I really don't know, man.
I don't know, he should have told us though.
Yeah. I think maybe he was confused.
Even an experienced brewer would not be upset. They would not be happy if they got home and they're like, well, I know this is a substitute, but I didn't want a substitute. Or at least I would have liked to have. Those guys, I'm going to yell at them tomorrow. Are they even open? They're not even open on Mondays.
I know they're open today, for sure.
Yeah, we learned that the hard way. Ah, you knuckleheads. What would you guys do? Should we burn their store down? Maybe that's a little violent. I don't know. Not cool. Not cool at all. If you want to make, so here we go. Let's read about this. If you want to make significantly better beer, you need to focus on your brewing water chemistry. From water profiles to brewing salts, mastering this most basic ingredient in brewing can take your beer to the next level. There's a lot that goes into this stuff. Conventional wisdom says you should focus on water chemistry last in your brewing career. But we being brewcabin.com, Matt Giovanici, that's how I'd say that. Italian name for sure. Says, we recommend starting much sooner because brewing water chemistry significantly impacts your beer's flavor and mouthfeel. Just ask the guys from Brewlosophy. They've been running experiments and determined that water chemistry really matters. And let's face it, beer is 90 to 95% water, so yeah, it's freaking important. Okay. Note, pictured above, which you can't see. Well, I can show you here. I'll show you really quick without dropping this in the water. All right, see it? See it? Okay. That's the Brew Lab test kit by Lamont. They use that kit for testing their water chemistry, but here's the rub. Water chemistry is confusing, you think? Ironically, the seemingly simplest element in the world is the most complex, but it doesn't have to be. The ins and outs of brewing water can be simplified to allow you to experiment with your own brews, or you can totally nerd out on the science. It's up to you. How to know what's in your water. First thing you need to do is start messing with water chemistry is to get a base mineral profile of the water. So you got to know what minerals are dissolved in, yada, yada, yada. If you use bottled water, you can spring water or distilled reverse osmosis water. Spring water contains minerals just like tap water. So if you build a water profile, you'll have to contact the bottler to know what's in it already. Distilled or reverse osmosis water is like working with a blank sheet of paper. It has hydrogen and oxygen, and that's it. All right. Ask your town. Contact your local water department. Ask for the most recent report. Let them know you're using the water for home brewing. Some places even have special reports for brewing water. Wow. Get it tested. Test it yourself. You can buy that test kit that we showed you just a minute ago. This is deep. Dude, Steve, I don't know if I want to go this deep, man. This is crazy. I smell something burnt myself. Looks good. I am quite sure that this is going to taste wonderful.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
But that's because I like all beer. I've yet to
I don't know
make
if it's really burnt on the other side though.
I don't know. Do you smell something kind of burnt though?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know where it came from.
I don't know. I mean, we dissolved the sugars, we stirred, and we did the thing, and we did the thing.
I think what we're smelling is whatever the manufacturer did to that malt extract. I think is what we're smelling. Because I didn't smell it until we poured. And all of a sudden it was just like, whew, it almost smells hoppy.
That's true.
But it shouldn't smell hoppy, you know?
No, it's true, and it's like the kettle's been getting heated for, well, an hour and 24 minutes now.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I don't know, man. It was, the kettle was clean. It was washed twice. Once we finished it last brew day, and then again right before we started, so the kettle's good.
Yeah. So
it's fine. Let's drink beer, brew beer, talk stuff.
Know things.
And we'll know things.
without being sued by HBO. Wait, did
He didn't drink beer, he drank wine.
That's true, but it's pretty close, man. It's like
It's
the
all about
Golden
language,
Arches
man.
versus the Golden Arcs.
Oh, I know.
Remember that?
Yeah.
You know, they're coming out with a second one.
I know.
I don't know how well that's going to work. It's been a long time.
It has. I hope they can keep the same, like, tone and attitude the movie had, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That came out in the 80s, wasn't it? 89?
It did. It was.
Times were different, man, you know?
Much different. The rules on what you could say, what jokes you could do, what was funny, what was not funny.
Right.
I mean, the sad thing about today is that nothing's funny. There is nothing funny, Steve.
Everything's so sterile.
Everything is offensive or sterile. That's right. Except for beer. This is why beer is so wonderful, man, because we do beer all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody's offended by beer. And if they are, you
Oh,
know,
well.
I know it's a family show, but fuck them.
Okay.
That's
You're
our
very
one
strict in the first
That's
mouth.
our one F-bomb not related to the actual act of coitus, therefore we are still PG. You told me that.
PG-13. Not
13.
PG, but PG-13.
Okay, close enough.
It's got to be 13, yeah.
13-year-olds can
You're
drink
allowed
beer.
one F-bomb, but it cannot reference coitus. So he is absolutely correct. Yeah, PG-13.
Right. So
This
that's
is the
our
American
one thing.
system. I can't attest to other systems out there, but
We would love it.
we are in America, so we're to stick with what we know.
Yep. It'd be cool if a German popped on here and started like
Yeah,
talking
man.
about beer, right?
We're
have
all
good
about
beer.
the international element. So if anybody around the world wants to pipe in and join the conversation, please do.
We even know a few international words like "ja." It's an international word, man.
The German guy's like, no,
Yeah.
come on.
That's true. They're probably. I know more German words like beer.
Beer. Yeah.
Beer is easy because it's beer or
B-I-E-R.
beer,
Yeah, beer.
but it's still beer.
So beer. Yeah.
Did I ever tell you about the time I went to Germany?
No.
I did. I went to Germany when I was a little kid. I was in a boy choir, so I was like 8 or 9.
Ah.
Guarantee you, this waiter was totally messing with the chaperone because he ordered like 8 beers, and the guy kept giving them to me. He's like, no, beer, and mineral waters and wrong things, and this 8-year-old's getting beer. I'm like, I know that they have different things about drinking here, but pretty sure you don't mean to give an 8-year-old kid 8 beers.
You were tall enough to reach the counter, right?
No, we were at a table, so yeah.
So that's probably why you got served.
Okay. But he didn't.
But
He
that's a
kept getting
joke.
mineral waters.
I get you.
It was fun. I guarantee you that. That was fun. So I was all about sausage at the time, right? Because I was 8, so I'm not a big beer person, but I still know what a bratwurst is. Yep. So we go there. So the closer and closer we get to Vienna, they're all bringing out these traditional foods, right? And so they're bringing out traditional sausages that are closer to their, what is like historically their sausage of the town, right?
Gotcha.
You know, because people, you know, particularly in like, not just Germany, but, you know, if you think like old European places, there's a lot of foods that are very reflective of the culture. And because 400 years ago, 300 years ago, traveling was not as easy as it is today.
No, of course not.
Because of that, you know, the little cultural enclaves were much smaller, right? So in the United States today, a cultural center is the West Coast of the United States, the entire West Coast, right? But in 1512, a cultural center might only be, I don't know,
A town?
a town? Yeah. A particular valley, and not even a big valley at that.
Right.
You know, I don't know. I'm not a huge history. But anyways, so I want bratwurst. I'm like, I'm in Germany. I should be eating bratwurst. They kept bringing out these sausages, and they just kind of tasted, and they were all close because we were on our way to Vienna, which I know is in Austria, but that was the ultimate goal.
It's so
right?
dramatic, you know.
Right? We started in Salzburg, and we're going to Vienna, and that was the trick, right? We sang in a whole bunch of churches along the way, sang with box organ, and we sang in the little church where Silent Night was composed and all that.
Sorry, let me stop you for a second. Where are the instructions? I don't know when to throw the first hot packet.
Oh, right at the beginning.
Okay.
60 minutes and 45 minutes.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, we don't have Centennial and Golding apparently, so
So just number 1, number 2.
we're about to boil.
Yeah, I see that. It's
Try to
getting there.
Heat up just a little bit.
So anyhow, we're getting closer and closer. They keep bringing out these Wien-wursts. You know what Beanwurst is?
No.
It's an Oscar Mayer hot dog.
Oh.
I don't care if you say it in German or not.
Maybe they thought because, you're Amerikanen, you would not know the difference,
Well, I know the difference.
I know. I get it.
Even at 8 years old, I knew the difference. Or maybe they were and he's gone. Maybe they were highly offended that I thought that Bratwurst was the thing, and yeah. Right. We like the hot dogs, yeah. Maybe they did. I don't know. I gotta admit, it is kind of frustrating that it freezes here. I don't know why it does that.
Yeah, I don't know either. Hot pellet?
No.
It's like rabbit food, but it's
not
very
like
bitter.
it's not that it's like so utterly bitter that it's like,
Whoa. Excuse me.
I mean, you're talking to the guy that ate squid intestines when he was in Japan. I can handle gross foods. It's that it gets all over in your mouth, like all over in your mouth.
You take a bite of pizza, you taste hops.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is that if we were to nibble on a hot pellet now, it's like, you ever eaten grass without anything? Just like eating grass for whatever reason, accidentally or whatever. It's just kind of everywhere, and it doesn't, and there's nothing good about it. It is a bad experience. Same with that. Add it in. Add it in. But let's make sure that we get this under control. No boiling over. We're already screwed up by the fact that we don't know what we're making.
I know, right?
I can't believe this. I'm gonna beat those guys.
Yeah, I don't know if he said anything. I honestly don't recall if he said anything. Like, hey, there's an alternative in here, or if he just wasn't paying attention.
He gave you the wrong carboy too, dude.
Yeah, I know.
He wasn't paying attention. I mean, maybe his head was somewhere else. He just screwed it up. I mean, I don't hate him. Ben seems like a nice guy. I mean,
he's a human just like anybody else.
Yeah, dude.
We all make mistakes.
It's not like we've never screwed up. It's just kind of annoying because it takes 45 minutes to get to the store.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy. Purchased a brand new primary fermenter for us. It was supposed to be 6.5.
Super excited.
Supposed to be 6.5 gallons because it gives us that headroom if you have a pretty active wort.
Which, by the way, we experience what happens if you
watch
don't
this.
have enough headroom. It just kind of oozes up through the water lock and everywhere. And there's this gooey, sticky mess all over the outside of your fermenter.
I got to Jamie's house, showed them the new fermenter. We took it out of the box and we're both instantly
I was kind of like, oh,
that's not the
doesn't
right
look
size.
All right, no, not on top. I can already see this being an explosion. We're moving off this flame.
We're not boiling yet.
We're pretty close, though, don't you think? I mean, it's moving. You think?
Oh yeah, it's moving, but I think it's right on the cusp.
Cusp.
There you go. See, look at that.
Cusp. Cusping. More cusp. There. That was that. See? Aha! There. We're doing it. No, don't do it, man. Wait. Let me stir it. Whoa! Nylon sweatshirt over blazing flame.
I don't want to change the.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
It's not gonna boil over because
There's
we're not on the fire. All right. Oh, lost the pellet. That's
Do
all right.
not throw that in there.
Yeah. All right, this guy's back on the flame.
It's a very interesting mixture of hops and sugars and motor oil. Actually, your garage floor is nice and clean.
That's warm. All right, let me start the timer.
Keep an eye on that.
Yeah. All right.
I've already mentioned that that's one area that we failed a couple times. Is boil over control. Ugh.
All right. Timer is good. We have boil, soft rolling boil, not a hard.
Violent roiling boil.
Right.
It's amazing how you change one letter and it just completely changes what
The
you're
whole
talking
meaning
about.
of everything. Yeah.
Roiling to rolling.
There we go. Make sure we're fairly centered on the plate.
We're good,
Just so that
man.
we get a nice preferably even
We're
distribution.
good. We're good.
Right, how you doing your beer there? I'm about done with this one.
About the same as last time. About a third.
Okay. That's a nice boil.
Yeah, I would call this a very successful batch of beer, except for the fact that we have no idea what it is. It's
So,
brown.
so note to self: before I leave the store, check the inventory.
Yeah, which is, you should probably do that anyways, but still.
Well, yeah, you typically trust the person who's getting the shit for you. You know, but
Is
PG-13.
there any rules on that? Like, if you say that and it doesn't refer to the actual act of defecation, does it change things?
That I'm not familiar with. I think you're allowed maybe so many. I don't know. I don't really know the rules on that one.
The whole rating system is a little bit, I don't know, it's dumb.
All right, well, here's what it is. We're still not using our wort chiller, but
We will, eventually.
Well, now I gotta get that cardboard ready here in a moment. But
It's
we'll
all
just
coming
do the
together.
sink and ice method like we always do and stir the
Yep.
crap out of it and get it down to temperature as soon as we can.
It's all, we're getting better and better at this,
You know.
kind of, sort of, not
Well,
really.
we both have full-time families, full-time jobs, so it's just
Plus active side hobbies. You're a software engineer. I'm a professional musician. That's a lot on your plate. This kind of a side hobby. Side. But, you know, the thing is, you know what? I did see a Coors Light clone. Now, riddle me this, Batman. Why would you do a Coors Light clone?
for fun, maybe. I don't know.
It makes no sense because, right,
Put some water in a glass and add a couple drops of beer, and you got Coors Light.
shut up, dude. I love Coors Light. It's my favorite beer. That's not.
Hey, it's okay to keep training, even when we're masters at it. you
That's
know?
right. Train, fight like you train. No, but seriously, I don't understand why you would clone a beer that is more economical to just go buy the beer,
I don't know, man.
right? Because these kits cost like what, $50 a piece, give or take,
Give or take, yeah.
right? So if we're buying expensive beer, you know, like, well, what's this Stone Brewery stuff? Not
It
so
was, well, Stone tends to be a little on the higher
right.
side of
It's
things.
not
yeah.
stupid expensive, you know, not like that.
Right.
$9. The Roquefort 8, by the way, 11.2 ounces, $7.
Just for the one bottle?
One bottle, 11.2 ounces, $7 for 11.2 ounces. That beer better wake me up in the morning, make my bed, and make me breakfast.
It didn't do that, did it?
I didn't buy it at $7 for 11.2 ounces. Not happening, brother. I like beer, but come on, I will
I think-
make delicious beer.
I think some of the most expensive beer I've seen. Now this would have been in 6-pack form. I believe it's called Ballast Point. It was like for one 6-pack, it was like $14 or $15.
Ooh, excuse
I
me.
think it would be anywhere, you know, up or down based off the store. I've noticed like the same beer, the prices fluctuate depending what store I'm in. So,
But you've seen some crazy expensive beers over at Greg's.
yeah, man.
I
Some
mean,
of those
that's-
specialty
some
beers,
just
yeah.
stupid expensive.
I think a lot of that is we're covering his costs because he's like his own distributor. He goes down and gets his own beer and brings it back
I know.
from the warehouse. He doesn't actually
Mhm.
have anybody deliver it. So he's probably factoring in the cost of gas and time.
Well, of course, he's
to do
gonna
that,
be
yeah.
he's gonna be more expensive.
He's a
and
businessman.
stuff,
You got to do what you got to do. I'm not faulting him for that.
But
But I
that's
think
right.
a lot of that cost we see at the store is we're paying for that overhead.
Yeah.
We're paying for the logistics. Yeah.
You know, I was in there the other day. Well, it's where I bought that super sugary double bock.
Mm.
That was not a good beer.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. Good job.
It was
That-
too sweet. It was the first
this would be the
impression.
perfect beer if we knew what the heck it was.
The first impression of the double buck he's referring to, you know, it has kind of a chocolatey sweetness to it, but it was just way too sweet.
No, we're talking like soda pop sweet, like
Yeah.
pop sweet, like sugary,
Yeah.
not just kind of, because there's a sweet finished beer. Y'all know. Any of you that are tuning in at any point, whether you're watching a replay or not, you know what a sweet beer is versus like a really dry, well attenuated beer. You know, but this was like,
This was like drinking syrup almost.
yeah, not
Sweet
quite as
syrup,
bad
yeah.
as those chocolate chip cookie beers we had that one time.
Oh yeah.
By the way, I'm totally ready. Go ahead and rock and roll, man. By the time you get back, we will. This bottle will be empty.
We're gonna do a stone.
Stone. You did hit the timer, right?
Oh, yes, I did.
You ain't scaring me. You ain't scaring me. I know you. You're too methodical, dude.
True.
Forgetting things like that is what I do.
You're like, there's no way. That guy is so Steve D. It's crazy.
Yes.
That's the brain joke at work, by the way. Steve D.
Oh, Steve D?
Not OCD, but Steve D.
Well, to tell you what, I'll give it to him because it's absolutely right. So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, let me tell you about working with Steve. Back when we were both in the Navy, and we were both in the same shop. I need a picture on the wall. Shoot, it doesn't matter. I don't have a picture on a wall. So literally, every day I would show up before him for whatever reason, because he had a maintenance meeting and I didn't, and yada yada. But we would sit in the shop and we'd move a picture a quarter of an inch, just and he would come in and he'd be like yada yada yada, and we're gonna fix jets and we're gonna be awesome, yada yada, and then without even thinking, he would just reach over and just go and fix the picture. He didn't even know it was moved. I swear, you didn't even know, man. You were just like, that needs to be fixed, and then you would keep going.
That was, I mean, not even pausing, just fix a picture in the middle of my pass down.
That was hilarious. We used to do it on purpose. It's like, move that one today. Right? And you'd come in and you'd walk over to it. And then you'd keep going.
It was fun.
It was good times, Shitty command, but good times. That's 2. Are we still PG-13?
I don't know.
I do not like the upside down labels. This is a bad marketing gimmick. And pizza's here. Tangerine. Oh, that's not good. Need a paper towel? That was a mistake. Didn't mean for that to happen. What? Excuse me. All right. Oh, clean up this mess. Getting old, my belly's in the way. My belly!
Oh no!
My fat belly!
The beer is gonna mix with the oil. Actually, there's no oil on the ground, but
I know, but still.
there's a lot of dust. It's a garage.
I'll throw it over there.
Where is my beer?
I don't know, tangerine. And off you go.
There it is. Yeah, as you can see, folks, I'm kind of in and out of the scene a lot, but that's okay. We're busy. We got a lot going on. I'm sure you don't mind, and if you do, you can always tell us.
Well, there's all of 0 viewers. There's 4 people. We're 2 of them.
Yeah, well, maybe Riley's on, but I doubt it.
Yeah. Doesn't matter, man. Eventually they'll come. They'll come.
Even if they're not watching live, man, maybe they catch up on YouTube or whatever since all the posts.
Leave a comment. Tell us about how you would punish Ben and Trevor for screwing up our beer recipe. We want to know.
We don't know if they screwed it up. Maybe that's a viable alternative. Maybe he used alternatives. We need to ask the question first before we, I'm just saying.
You are being way too generous.
Just saying, maybe those were substitutes, viable substitutes.
Did he tell you about it beforehand?
I don't recall, honestly. When did I go down there? Fridays? Yeah, Friday.
He screwed it up.
It probably happened. Screwed it
up, man.
Because they are our primary supplier right now. I don't want to bash them.
That's true. They're good people.
But yes, it's possible he made a mistake and grabbed the wrong things. Maybe the labels were correct on the bins, but the wrong stuff was put in the bin, He didn't realize he grabbed the wrong stuff. Did you ever delete that one 4-minute video that was on there?
I did not. I probably should do that, huh?
I mean, yeah, because it's just where we have all these technical issues. We were just like, well, I don't know what's going on,
That was a mess. That was definitely a mess.
It was like our third broadcast or something, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know how many broadcasts we've had. We could probably go look.
Mhm.
I think we're actually. Let me tap on this. Yeah, let's not. We'll come back to it later. Ooh, sexy delays. Ooh, sexy delays. I don't know why Northwest Brewmeisters follows Kush After Dark, but they do.
Why don't we just unfollow them then?
Possibly we could do that, but
Because if it's not beer related,
it's not even remotely beer related. It's audio related. It's all about sound.
you know what? I bet you were logged in and didn't realize you were logged in.
I guarantee it. That's exactly.
You might have thought you were logged into your audio related, your music related account. You know what I mean?
Yep. No, I guarantee it. There's too many accounts, so much stuff to follow. Basically, just need a separate device for everything.
Yeah, right.
That's what I would like. It's like, we'll take down the Brewmeister's iPad and the Montana Knights iPad and the Jane Yaston iPad.
So I'm gonna have to leave you by yourself again. I need to get the carboy ready. So it's been soaking. The good news is since that I transferred everything on the spot and I rinsed it on the spot, there was no chunky buildup inside of Trub. It's just been soaking with regular just dishwater, just soap water. I just need to rinse it and get it ready for the ready to receive.
Okay, man.
So-
We could call it. I mean, there's no reason to push this out to 2.5 hours like usually when there's no viewers. I mean, we're sure you'll be here in the future, and if you're there, then we'll chat with you and stuff. But
Okay, I mean,
we can call it. We can go eat pizza
We
and
kill the
stuff.
feed. Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that.
I mean, it's gonna be a little bit for the pieces ready, but
Right. But anyways, I mean,
I was just gonna be off camera again, getting the cardboard ready for.
I've ran out of things to talk about. Is the other thing.
That's all right.
It's easier to talk about things when there's someone to talk about things
Yeah.
with.
This is my fault because I didn't have this stuff ready before we started.
I
I just
totally
got
blame
busy. I was about halfway ready with all the
No excuses.
materials, but I didn't get done yet.
Feel the guilt. I love you, man. All right. Hey, folks, we're going to go ahead and kill this because
We're gonna keep brewing, but we're just gonna kill
Yeah.
the feed.
we're going to finish this brew. We'll see what happens in a couple weeks. Well, no, not in a couple weeks. This will be done fermenting. So in about a month, we really should Well, you got any method of documenting this? Just say screwed up brew.
Yeah.
Because in a couple months, well, let's put it on.
I won't toss this stuff yet. By the way,
Yeah,
I'll just
later, sweetie.
keep an eye on it.
So anyways, yeah, so put on screwed up brew or something like that. And
We'll keep an eye on it.
yeah, and so if you see this, if you're watching this on the replay and you come back in about a month and we're going to go ahead and taste the screwed up brew and we'll let you know how it turned out, whether it's like delicious
You know
or
what we
like,
need to do then? When we do that, let's start the broadcast with a racking. Start it with a
so
racking.
in a month.
When this is ready to be racked or caged, let's start the broadcast with that.
Well, how about in 2 weeks? 2 weeks, we're going to brew another batch of
Yeah.
something, right?
Right.
And this should be ready to rack right about then. Because this is an ale, we think. We're pretty sure it's an ale.
Probably enough.
I have no idea what this is now. I'm so confused. I'm lost. It's like I'm floating in this haze. I have no guidance. I'm unmoored, untethered, adrift,
So-
in a void of beer, which is not
We'll
such a
either
big
start it with a rack or we'll start it with a cage, depending on when we decide to do this. So, we'll do the initial tasting before we
Oh.
carbonate it.
Oh, I'm seeing what you're saying. And before we've had like 6 beers,
Right.
so we can actually still taste beer.
Yeah, I'm saying, it's like, we always take a little taste test. And
Yeah, no, absolutely.
At every
Well-
stage, we take a taste test. So I'm thinking what we'll do when we do our next beer, we'll start with a racking, and that way you folks can see what we do when we rack our beer, and then we'll do that initial taste test so we can tell you what we think of this. Now it's not gonna be ready, of course, but we'll get that initial reaction to it, and
We'll know if it's infected or not, which it won't be infected because we're gonna. The rest of the process, everything is
I'm
sterilized.
I'm just curious about taste now because this is not what we think it is anymore.
We have no idea what it is. All right. Yeah. All right. Hey. So sit back down. Dude. All right. So hey, for those of you coming back in, watching on the replay, we appreciate it very much. Keep tuning in. You never know. Eventually, this might become a thing. There might be people that we can talk to. It makes things a lot more fun. You can ask questions. We can have answers, or maybe we don't have answers, and we'll all learn together. But
Right.
until then, relax.
Have a home brew.